If you want your cattle operation to be sustainable, you have to implement boundaries in all sorts of areas. Whether that be the new technology you implement, which, by the way, doesn't always mean you're innovative. You'll learn more about that in a second. Or how you treat others, or how you treat your relationship with God, you have to implement boundaries. So enjoy this episode of how boundaries keep your cattle operation sustainable and innovative. Hope you enjoy and hope you learn something. This episode is brought to you by Top Notch Cattle Company, raising high-quality registered red and gray Brahman cattle. Contact Baxter Whitworth at 903-649-9155 or at bbwtopnotchcattle@gmail.com. Welcome to the Cattle Innovation Station podcast,
bringing you the innovative new ways of the cattle industry.
We're your hosts, Baxter Whitworth and Paul Hayes. Together, we're going to be interviewing leaders within the cattle industry.
Here on this podcast, our focus is honoring God and innovating the cattle industry. Get ready to listen, learn, and laugh as we help innovate the cattle industry.
Let's get innovating. Have you been looking for a place to buy top quality AI sire semen or collect a bull of your own? Well, look no further than Elgin Breeding Services. Located in Elgin, Texas, Elgin Breeding Service is not only one of the best breeding services in the business, but also has superior customer service. Contact them at ebsbull@elginbreedingservices.com or by phone at 512-285-2019. Again, that's 512-285-2019. And visit their website at elginbreedingservice.com. Now, Mr. Brandon, this one goes to you. And what is your pro tip for creating a system that makes sure that you're not missing any records that you're getting with your cattle, that you're not forgetting about something, and that you have everything down that you need to have down?
Have a shirt with a pocket on it. Yes. I don't know. Like I said, I try to write down everything as possible. Anything related to calving goes in my little calving book. Anything related to like heats and breeding, if I don't have a piece of paper with me, I send myself a text message. And that way I leave myself unread. So when I get back to the office, I still have that glaring red dot that says you have messages to check. So I go and check my own text messages to myself, and then I fill in the computers. Like if I saw a bull breed a cow, or if a cow was in heat and I AI'd, or if it's something that's not readily able to be written down and kept in my pocket, I just text it to myself. Rachel makes fun of me all the time because I text myself.
He will text himself, yet he won't answer my phone call or reply to text messages from me throughout the day.
I do my best.
It gets busy out there.
It does, yeah. Backstop seasons.
Right. Well, our final pro tip question goes back to you again, Mr. Brandon, and that is, what is your pro tip for making connections with people within the industry? And really, I that can go to either of y'all. Both of y'all are really good at that.
I would just for my 2 cents, I would say get out and about and get involved. Visit people. Go to their places, visit them, attend industry functions, network, if you have positive interaction with people, most of the time they're going to remember you. If you have a bad interaction, they're going to remember you as well. But the key is it's very easy to stay at home on your ranch, stay in your own lane, and nobody knows about you. you might be doing the best job in the world, but if nobody knows about you, it doesn't matter. So get out, get involved. Um, and I have found that being a positive person really helps people gravitate toward positivity, and they run away from negativity. And so and just try to use the golden rule, and treat people like you want to be treated, things like that.
And that ties back to the number one thing that people remember is not what you said, but how you make them feel, and that goes right along with what you said. Well, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this episode up, but we always like to ask a few questions before we end the episode, and I want to know from both of y'all, what is your advice to ranchers to help them innovate their herd to be more profitable?
That's a hard one, especially in ranching, because so many operations are rooted in tradition, and tradition is great. Nostalgia and tradition is great, but sometimes you can get stuck in that mindset of, well, this is how we've always done it. And if you're happy with that, you're not really looking for ways to innovate. We like to try to stay informed as much as possible. Like, we like to go to the beef cattle short course every year, maybe see what's new, see what's out there. We like talking with other breeders that we truly respect and kind of like bounce around ideas of what they're doing and things that they're doing. And we try to be early adopters of new technology within reason. There are some technologies that we have never embraced for whatever reason, like cloning. We think cloning is cool, but we kind of feel like it might be messing with the Lord's plan, so we've never done that. But in other areas, we're very innovative, so we just try to do the best we can and be knowledgeable and stay in touch with the industry and implement innovative ideas when we feel it could benefit us.
I would say, I would add to that saying, try to make our cattle where they're easier to manage, where you don't have to spend a lot of time doing mundane things. Make the cattle work for you, and always try to improve all of those different traits where you can spend more time with your family. And because these things, and I've learned over the years, you can spend daylight to dark and a whole lot of hours into dark with the cows, and you let your family and your faith fall to the wayside, and it becomes a high priority in your life, maybe because just trying to keep the things alive. But if you're trying to make these cattle where they operate on their own, and always try to improve the traits that would help them in that area, where you can spend more time at home, spend more time participating in your community and things like that it all works together.
Well, and see, I think that's great. First of all, the goal of being able to be profitable, having good cattle, but also not letting that overly consume your life, where you have other priorities of your faith and your family, is very important. And then the other thing is, you talked about how you've embraced some innovation, some tools, some not. And to me, that's still very innovative, because innovative, in my opinion, you can come up with some new product, but it's only innovative if it's actually productive, efficient, or profitable, And so anything, you can come up with anything new, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. Well, you talked about your faith and your family, and so what is a core value that either of y'all would like to share?
That's hard. We have a lot of core values. I would say in our lives, through prior to getting married and even early in our marriage, we went through phases where we were not living exactly the way that we should, and not making good choices. And I would say there are definitely times in our life where we were like worshiping idols that were not God, whether that is worshiping a banner or selling a high priced animal or the accolades that come from showing, or things like that. We definitely fell victim to getting into that mentality. And maybe 5, 6, maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago, we really started trying to focus on our faith and our family and setting those boundaries of like trying to be home by 5 o'clock, we don't go to a show on Sunday so we can go to church, things like that. And it made a huge difference for us. And so realizing that we are not perfect in any way, and that's okay. We're trying our best. We try to live as close to God's word as we can, and do our best. But everybody falls short. And when we do, we just try to get back on track and help each other. So that's not a value statement, but that's just our general mindset, I would say, in our home.
Have you been looking for Brahman cattle with a good genetic background? Contact 79 Cattle Company, selling reliable Brahman replacement heifers, Brahman show prospects, and Brahman bulls. Contact Taylor Tate at 210-241-4511. Again, that's 210-241-4511. Or contact Mallory Tate at 210-861-0155. 210-861-0155. If you truly want your livestock to perform at their best, make sure to contact Vance Aaron, the owner and operator of AFL Livestock Solutions. Vance specializes in MagnaWave treatments that use pulsed electromagnetic fields, or PEMF, to relieve pain, swelling, and inflammation, caused to help your livestock feel their best. In addition to livestock, Vance can also help you feel better. His treatment works great on sore muscles and joints, along with other mobility issues. His treatments are FDA approved to treat migraines. Aaron Family Livestock Solutions has helped many exhibitors make it to the backdrop with their proven MagnaWave treatments. Don't miss your next backdrop picture. Give Vance a call at 903-720-3184. Again, that's 903-720-3184. Or find them on Facebook at AFL Livestock Solutions.
I would say my whole life, you've always seen the diagram that has the umbrella where you have God first and your family comes next, and then everything else behind it. And if you can maintain what we found over time, if you can maintain them in that order, everything else falls in line so much easier. And
you're referring to the graphic where the husband is over the wife, right?
Maybe. No, not necessarily that. I have seen another similar, and I've seen another one that's basically God is the umbrella, then you have family, and then everything else. The prioritization of things, and really just even the first commandment: have no other gods before me. But then keep your family a priority, and then make sure your priorities are right, I guess you would say, and things tend to fall in line after that.
I would add, you didn't know my grandpa Baxter Sloan Williams, but I feel like Brandon and our path really follows his a lot, in his mindset of taking a lot of risk and things like that. And he always just had a mantra that the Lord will provide. And no matter what he was going through or how challenging things were or how hard it was, no matter what, he would just always simply say, the Lord will provide. And he has shown that in our life too. In every situation that we've been through, when you just turn it over to him, he will make a way.
Right, and that's so good, and that keeping God first. And also, you said you didn't really talk on values, but I saw one in which you were talking about, and that's setting boundaries, and that's very important for anything, really. And even within, we've talked about boundaries all night, really. With selling cattle that aren't productive or not retaining heifers out of a cow that couldn't pay for herself within 3 calves. And so that just boundaries is a really key takeaway from this. And I reminded myself of a question I meant to ask earlier, and this is kind of off topic for this moment. But when it comes to a calf or a cow paying herself off, does that have to be 3 natural calves, or do y'all also include embryo transfer calves in that as well?
I think it could be either or, but you have to keep in mind the added expenses that go with embryos.
And in most cases, we're tracking on cattle that we have purchased. And so a lot of these ones that we have purchased are just by nature naturally calving cows. Not many of them go into an embryo program.
Right. Now, I will agree with Mr. Cutrer on tracking the extra expenses, because there are definitely some added extra expenses. I just got a heifer aspirated for the first time, and that bill is piling up quickly. Well, going back to closing the episode, what is y'all's favorite Bible verse that y'all like to go by?
Mine is really simple. It's very cliche, but I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And strength is something that I can really relate to in ranching, because you have to have a strength in a lot of areas, whether it means physical strength just to do the work. For me, mental strength can be challenging to process it all and keep it all organized. And especially in the cattle industry, I think moral strength is something that we really have to focus on, and it's equally important as the other two, to do right by yourself, your family, and your customer. So no matter what you're looking for, Christ can give you that strength to do what you need to do.
I think that's great, and I think you brought in a great part of that verse that people miss. A lot of times that verse will be in gyms or something, and that's kind of taking it out of context. And you talked about moral strength, and that fits perfectly in the context to which the Bible had it. Moral strength and the continuous courage to move on. Like it takes sometimes at 12 a.m. when a cow is having a calf and needing help on with y'all, since y'all have done such a great job of making sure that y'all's cattle are very good at those reproductive traits. Is from what I've heard that happens less, but congratulations on that, because that is a great goal that y'all have done a good job of accomplishing.
As far as me, mine would tend to, because I kind of get distracted very easily. I don't always have the same favorite verse all the time, and I do read my Bible a few times a week. I don't, not as much as I should daily or anything like that, but at least several times a week. And I always find a new verse that might hit the particular mood I'm in that day, or be applicable to the certain thing. And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. That's my new favorite verse. And but the one that hit me today was Ephesians 2:8-9. And it said, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing, but the gift of God, and that not a result, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." So it's none of it's on you. It's all comes from God, and He can give and He can take away. And if He wills it, it'll be done, no matter how big the mountain. And but if it's not to be done, it ain't going to happen. And so it's not on us. We have to remove the pride, put our faith in Him.
That's right. And another part of if he gives it, He can take it away, is that other verse that says, those that can be trusted with a little can be trusted with a lot. And I think that's important in the cattle industry too, because it can be slow to grow, but just remembering, if you can be trusted with a little, you can be trusted with a lot.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite parable of all, is the parable of the talents. And so in terms of stewardship, we take that to heart we try to within our lives, our personal lives, as well as our businesses and cattle.
That's right. Well, I've definitely enjoyed this interview. I have been waiting to talk about record keeping for a long time now. I'm excited we were able to do it. I don't really love math, but I do love finding profit margins. So, I like record keeping, and I think even if you don't like it, it's an important part of the industry. But is there anything else y'all want to talk about before we end this episode and sign off?
No, just keep up the great work that you're doing, Baxter. And you might have seen Annie pop in, and she was saying hi. And we just love you and are so proud of everything that you're doing.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, and I'm sorry Paul couldn't join us tonight, but I think we still had a great episode. So, anyways, I want to thank you all for joining us, and I also want to thank the listeners for listening. Make sure to share this episode so that you can help the other people gain the knowledge you've gained. Like this episode, and make sure to follow our podcast. Mr. Cutrer, were you about to say something?
I was just going to say thank you, Baxter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
EP Cattle Company. Owned by Eddie Wilson, EP Cattle Company is home of Sir Rouse Handshake. Rouse Handshake is a sound-structured, heavy-muscled bull that is really bold-ribbed. So it comes with no surprise that he is a Fort Worth and San Antonio Junior Show Division Champion and Rio Grande Valley Open Show Division Champion. He is a grandson of BRC Noble and JDH Shank Manso, and is also a great-grandson of Mr. H. Elijah Manso. You can contact Eddie Wilson or Nicole Wilson on Facebook at EP Cattle Company. So remember, if you're looking for some well-performing, registered Brahman genetics, contact Eddie Wilson on Facebook.
Infinity Cattle Services, owned by Chris Shivers, is glad to be a sponsor of the Cattle Innovation Station podcast. Infinity Cattle Services, a unique, vision-driven, service-oriented company committed to developing successful revenue-producing cattle operations, is a full-service consulting and marketing firm specializing in Brahman and Brahman-influenced cattle. Contact them today to learn more about how they can assist you with locating cattle, cattle mating, sale management, marketing, communications, record keeping, data submission, and a wide array of other services. They can be reached at 713-202-1747. Again, that's 713-202-1747, or at infinitycattleservices@gmail.com. That is infinitycattleservices@gmail.com. Visit their website at infinitycattle.com or check them out on Facebook and Instagram. Well, as we conclude the interview with Brandon and Rachel Cutrer, I think we've learned a lot of important things, whether it be record keeping or how to set boundaries in your herd, and so much more. But I want to really emphasize the importance of boundaries and how you set them, especially when it comes to innovation, because not everything that's new is innovation. I want to go back to what I said earlier in the episode, which is you can come up with some new product, but it's only innovative if it's actually productive, efficient, or profitable. And so I think that just because you have a product or have a new idea doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to help you. And it could be profitable, but it may not be sustainable. And it could be profitable and sustainable, but it might not be ethical. And so I think finding new technologies or ideas that are both profitable, sustainable, efficient, and ethical are really important. And so I hope you remember that as you implement new technologies into your herd. Thank you. Are you looking for high quality hay that is priced well? Then make sure to visit Threadgill Hay Company. They have fertilized horse jigs and Tifton 85. They carry square bales and round bales. Their square bales are $8 a bale, and their 4x6 round bales are $50 per roll. That's a nice price and good quality. They're located outside of Mount Enterprise, Texas, and they will gladly give you more details when you contact them. Speaking of contacting them, you can reach out by texting Sawyer Poole at 903-646-4741 or Ronald Threadgill at 903-235-2011. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Cattle Innovation Station podcast. If you're not already following us, make sure to do that and share this episode so other people can gain the knowledge you have as well. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep innovating the cattle industry. Signing off.